Good evening, everyone. On certain nights, when the air feels still and the sky stretches wide like an endless canvas, something unusual can happen. A soft glow might appear where nothing should be, or a flash might glide across the darkness without sound or warning. For as long as people have looked upward, these quiet interruptions in the night have captured our imagination. They arrive without explanation, linger just long enough to stir curiosity, and then fade, leaving only wonder behind. Welcome, everyone. Tonight, we are easing into one of the oldest and most intriguing stories shared across cultures and centuries, the mysterious lights in the sky. Not dramatic scenes from movies, and not frightening encounters, just simple, puzzling moments witnessed by ordinary people going about their lives. A farmer closing his gate, a traveler resting by a river, a pilot flying over calm clouds, a family stepping outside after dinner, and suddenly, a light where no light should be. These moments often feel gentle, almost dreamlike. A drifting orb, a distant shimmer, a shape moving with a grace that does not quite match anything familiar. And while explanations vary from reflections to weather to rare atmospheric effects, what remains constant is the feeling these sightings inspire. A pause, a breath, a quiet sense of, I have never seen that before. Tonight's journey is not about proving or disproving anything. Instead, it is about exploring the long human tradition of looking up, noticing something unusual, and wondering what hides behind the silence of the sky. So, settle in. Let the noise of the day soften a little, and let us follow that small spark of curiosity into the stories, legends, and questions that have floated above us for thousands of years. As we move forward from those ancient moments of sky watching, we step into a much more modern chapter, one that began in the summer of 1947. This period marked a turning point in how the world talked about unusual lights in the sky, largely thanks to one pilot and one very unexpected sighting. His name was Kenneth Arnold, and his quiet flight over the mountains of Washington state accidentally became the spark that shaped decades of conversations about mysterious aerial phenomena. Arnold was not looking for anything unusual. He was simply flying on a clear afternoon, focused on the peaceful rhythm of the sky, when he noticed something moving far faster than any aircraft he knew. Bright objects, shiny, almost reflective, seemed to dart and glide in ways that did not match the familiar movements of planes. They shifted direction sharply, skimmed above the mountain peaks, and traveled with an almost playful lightness. Arnold later described their motion as like a saucer skipping across water, a comparison that unintentionally created a phrase that would echo around the world: flying saucers. Newspapers picked up the story, and almost overnight, people everywhere began sharing their own experiences. Lights that had once been brushed off as tricks of the atmosphere suddenly gained new significance. Pilots, families, hikers, and even military personnel started reporting similar sights, objects that moved quickly, silently, and strangely. This surge in sightings did not necessarily prove anything extraordinary, but it revealed something important. People were paying attention. And once the world started listening, these mysterious lights became more than passing glimmers. They became part of a larger question, one that science, aviation, and ordinary observers would continue to examine for generations. As reports continued to surface after the 1947 wave, one detail began appearing again and again: descriptions of lights moving in ways that did not match anything people were used to seeing in the sky. These were not slow, drifting glows or distant flickers. Instead, witnesses spoke of objects that accelerated sharply, changed direction without slowing, or moved with a smoothness that felt almost effortless. Pilots, in particular, often described these moments with quiet amazement. They were trained observers, familiar with the behavior of aircraft, weather balloons, and atmospheric reflections. Yet some of them reported seeing lights streak horizontally at tremendous speed, then come to an abrupt stop as if ignoring the rules of momentum. Others described small bursts of brilliant motion, where a glowing shape would zip across the horizon and vanish before the human eye could fully track its path. These accounts were not limited to any one place. They came from coastlines, mountain regions, deserts, and busy cities. People reported lights that rotated, pulsed, or darted in long, smooth arcs. In rare cases, observers claimed the lights seemed to travel against strong winds or shift direction in ways traditional aircraft simply could not. Of course, unexplained does not automatically mean extraordinary. Many scientists pointed out that under certain conditions, distant objects can appear to move faster than they really are. Temperature layers in the atmosphere can bend light. Bright celestial bodies can shimmer or distort near the horizon. And sometimes, the brain fills in gaps when an unfamiliar motion appears suddenly in a dark sky. But even with these explanations in mind, some sightings remain difficult to categorize. And it is these puzzling moments when a light behaves in a way that does not quite match nature or technology that continue to inspire curiosity and careful study today. Beyond the rapid streaks and sudden directional shifts, another type of sighting began appearing in witness reports, lights that did not rush across the sky at all, but instead hovered quietly, almost thoughtfully, as if suspended on invisible strings. These lights often appeared as soft orbs, steady glows, or gentle pulses of brightness. People described them hanging in place over fields, along mountain ridges, or above open stretches of water, sometimes remaining motionless for minutes at a time. What made these sightings especially intriguing was not just the stillness, but the patterns. There were moments when several lights appeared together, forming shapes that seemed too deliberate to be random. Triangles, straight lines, smooth arcs, even wide, symmetrical formations that drifted or stayed perfectly fixed against the night sky. Some witnesses noted that the lights dimmed and brightened in rhythm, almost like a coordinated signal. These sightings were not loud or dramatic. They did not rush in with speed or vanish abruptly. Instead, they created a different feeling, a quiet pause, a moment where nature and expectation did not seem to align. A light that stays completely still in the open sky tends to draw attention precisely because so few natural things behave that way. Of course, many possibilities exist. Drones, aircraft, satellites, and even reflections from ground sources can sometimes appear as stationary or patterned lights. Atmospheric conditions can duplicate or bend distant glows, creating illusions of symmetrical shapes where none exist. And in some cases, lights from distant aircraft can seem motionless if viewed from a particular angle. Yet despite these explanations, some patterns remain beautifully perplexing. And it is this mix of the familiar and the unknown that keeps the conversation alive. These quiet, hovering lights, simple, soft, and strangely deliberate, continue to be a gentle reminder that the sky still holds moments we have not fully understood. As these mysterious lights became more widely reported, they did not just capture the attention of ordinary citizens, they drew the eyes of governments too. Throughout the mid-20th century, various military and scientific organizations quietly began investigating reports of unusual aerial phenomena. At first, many officials treated the sightings as curiosities or misidentifications. After all, distinguishing between weather balloons, aircraft, or atmospheric effects was a practical necessity for maintaining safety and order in increasingly busy skies. In the United States, one of the earliest programs to systematically study these phenomena was Project Sign, later succeeded by Project Grudge and Project Blue Book. The stated aim was simple: collect reports, categorize sightings, and determine whether they posed a threat. Some cases were quickly explained, often linked to conventional aircraft, meteorological events, or celestial bodies. Others, however, remained unresolved. The unexplained instances, though fewer in number, were enough to sustain both public fascination and internal concern. Despite the official work, initial public statements often dismissed these lights as misperceptions or hysteria. Newspapers sometimes reported them with playful skepticism, and military officials offered explanations meant to reassure the public. But behind the scenes, many investigators treated the reports seriously, interviewing trained pilots, radar operators, and other credible witnesses whose accounts were difficult to dismiss lightly. These early investigations set the stage for decades of debate. The tension between public skepticism and internal curiosity would persist, creating an environment where mysterious lights in the sky were both a source of intrigue and a subject of caution. Governments often maintained secrecy about certain sightings, not to provoke fear, but to preserve national security and avoid unnecessary alarm. Yet this secrecy, intentional or not, added a layer of mystery that only deepened public interest. Even today, declassified documents and ongoing discussions reveal how seriously these investigations were taken and how much remained unexplained. The government's cautious attention, sometimes hidden, sometimes public, shows that these lights were never just fanciful tales, but real phenomena that demanded careful observation and consideration. In the last decade, what was once dismissed as fringe curiosity has taken on a new dimension thanks to modern technology and official transparency. In 2017, the U.S. Department of Defense officially released several videos captured by Navy pilots showing unidentified aerial phenomena, commonly called UAPs, performing movements that seem to defy conventional physics. These clips, recorded with advanced infrared cameras, show objects accelerating rapidly, stopping abruptly, and changing direction in ways that challenge easy explanation. Unlike earlier reports, these sightings were documented by highly trained military personnel using sophisticated instruments. Pilots described objects appearing in restricted airspace, moving silently, and performing maneuvers that no known aircraft could replicate. The videos, now widely available to the public, sparked intense discussion not just among UFO enthusiasts, but also within scientific and defense communities. Questions shifted. It was no longer just a matter of belief or imagination. There were real data points that deserved serious attention. In response, the U.S. government established formal offices to study these phenomena, including the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force and later the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO. Their stated mission is to assess potential threats, understand aerial anomalies, and collect data from credible sources. While no conclusions about extraterrestrial origin have been officially made, the acknowledgement itself is significant. It demonstrates a willingness to investigate the unknown openly, without immediately dismissing what remains unexplained. These recent developments mark a turning point. No longer confined to folklore or the occasional newspaper article, UAPs have entered mainstream discourse, combining high-quality evidence with institutional recognition. This does not mean we have all the answers, but it does mean that the quiet lights in the sky, once easily dismissed, are now part of an ongoing investigation that blends human curiosity, national security, and scientific inquiry. And it reminds us that even in a world of satellites, drones, and advanced aircraft, the skies can still surprise us. While many sightings remain unexplained, scientists have explored a variety of natural phenomena that could account for some of the mysterious lights in the sky. One such explanation is balllightning, a rare atmospheric occurrence in which glowing, spherical objects appear during thunderstorms. Witnesses often describe them as floating or moving unpredictably, sometimes lasting several seconds, an experience that can easily be mistaken for something extraordinary, especially in the quiet darkness of night. Other atmospheric effects can also produce strange visual impressions. Temperature inversions, where layers of warm and cold air bend light, can create illusions of motion or hovering objects. Ice crystals, moisture in the air, or reflections from distant city lights can appear as steady or flickering glows. Even the way the human eye perceives brightness and movement at night can exaggerate size, speed, or distance. These optical tricks help explain why a simple light can sometimes seem to dance across the sky in impossible ways. Meteors, comets, and fireballs add another layer of explanation. A meteor entering Earth's atmosphere can glow brightly, change trajectory slightly due to air resistance, and vanish almost instantly, often leaving observers with a strong impression of something unusual. Occasionally, multiple meteors or satellite flares can appear together, forming fleeting patterns that resemble coordinated or intelligent movement. All these explanations demonstrate that the natural world is capable of producing phenomena that challenge our perception. Yet, even after accounting for these possibilities, there remain sightings that do not fit neatly into any category. Some lights behave in ways that defy both natural and technological expectations, reminding us that while science can illuminate many mysteries, the sky still holds moments that are truly puzzling. By understanding the natural explanations, we gain perspective on what might be ordinary, but also a deeper appreciation for those instances that resist explanation, leaving us to wonder and imagine, just as humans have done for centuries. Even as technology and science help explain some mysterious lights, there is another element that cannot be overlooked: the human mind itself. Perception is not always a perfect mirror of reality. When we look at the night sky, our brains work to interpret incomplete information, filling gaps, smoothing motion, and sometimes creating patterns where none truly exist. In moments of low light or fleeting glimpses, ordinary objects can appear extraordinary. Expectations and cultural context also play a powerful role. If someone has recently read about UFOs or watched media depicting strange aerial phenomena, their mind may be primed to interpret ambiguous lights as unusual or intelligent. Similarly, stress, fatigue, or heightened emotional states can amplify these perceptions, making a simple drone, star, or airplane appear more dramatic than it is. Even seasoned observers can occasionally misidentify ordinary objects, especially in unusual weather or lighting conditions. Memory itself is another factor. Witness accounts are often recorded after the fact, relying on recollection rather than continuous observation. The mind tends to emphasize surprising or meaningful aspects of an event while downplaying ordinary details. Over time, these recollections can evolve, blending personal interpretation with genuine observation. This does not mean the sightings are imaginary, only that perception is complex and sometimes deceptive. Understanding these psychological factors does not diminish the experience of witnessing a mysterious light. On the contrary, it highlights the delicate interplay between the world outside and the mind within. Humans are wired to notice, interpret, and wonder. When an unexpected glow appears in the sky, it engages that innate curiosity, leaving a lasting impression, regardless of whether a scientific explanation is ultimately found. So, even as we explore physical explanations, it is worth remembering that the human perspective itself can shape the story, turning ordinary phenomena into moments of quiet fascination and reflection, moments that continue to inspire wonder across cultures and generations. While many sightings can be explained through natural phenomena or psychological factors, some reports come from highly trained and credible observers, which makes them particularly compelling. Pilots, military personnel, and aviation experts spend years learning to read the sky, interpret instruments, and distinguish between ordinary and unusual aerial events. When these individuals report seeing lights that behave in ways inconsistent with known aircraft or natural occurrences, it draws attention from both the public and the scientific community. Military encounters are especially noteworthy. Radar operators have tracked objects moving at extreme speeds, executing sudden changes in direction, and hovering without any visible means of propulsion. Pilots in these situations often describe objects that defy the physical limitations of current technology, appearing almost otherworldly. Their accounts are typically precise, detailed, and consistent, lending weight to the idea that some phenomena genuinely resist simple explanation. These credible reports have historically prompted formal investigations. When experienced personnel report something unusual, it cannot be dismissed as mere imagination or error. Even today, official task forces studying unidentified aerial phenomena consider such eyewitness accounts alongside radar data, infrared video, and other technical evidence. The combination of human observation and objective instrumentation strengthens the reliability of these reports, even when the phenomena themselves remain mysterious. Importantly, the focus here is not on sensationalizing or jumping to conclusions. The presence of credible witnesses reminds us that the sky can produce events that challenge our understanding. Whether these lights are advanced technology, rare atmospheric phenomena, or something else entirely, the testimony of trained observers highlights the continuing need for careful, methodical study. Their experiences serve as a bridge between anecdotal reports and scientific inquiry, keeping the conversation about mysterious lights alive and grounded in thoughtful observation. Beyond scientific investigations and military reports, mysterious lights in the sky have always sparked stories, myths, and legends. For centuries, people have attributed unexplained aerial phenomena to divine messages, spirits, or supernatural beings. In some cultures, glowing orbs were seen as omens, guiding travelers or warning communities of impending events. In others, they became symbols of otherworldly visitors, inspiring tales of beings from distant realms. With the rise of modern media, these ancient stories evolved into the pop culture image of the UFO and extraterrestrial visitor. Movies, television shows, books, and online forums amplified the mystique, creating a feedback loop. People expected to see strange lights, and the lore itself shaped the interpretation of what was observed. Triangular craft, glowing discs, and even humanoid figures became recurring motifs, blending folklore with modern imagination. Yet folklore and pop culture also serve a valuable role. They provide a cultural lens through which people interpret the unknown, offering narrative structures to frame experiences that might otherwise seem random or frightening. In a quiet night sky, a sudden light can feel less like a mistake of perception and more like a story, unfolding an invitation to wonder and explore. Interestingly, these narratives have influenced real-world reports. Witnesses sometimes describe sightings using language drawn from popular culture, consciously or unconsciously shaping their own recollections. This interplay between observation and imagination illustrates how deeply human storytelling is intertwined with our perception of the unknown. Ultimately, legends and pop culture reflect our collective fascination with the sky's mysteries. They remind us that, while some lights may have scientific explanations and others may remain unexplained, the stories we tell about them are as enduring and meaningful as the lights themselves. They connect generations, cultures, and individuals, all gazing upward, asking quietly, what is out there? One of the most fascinating aspects of mysterious lights in the sky is how they sit at the intersection of science, folklore, and secrecy. On one hand, rigorous scientific inquiry seeks to explain sightings through natural phenomena, atmospheric conditions, or human-made technology. On the other hand, centuries of cultural storytelling have imbued these lights with symbolism, wonder, and the possibility of life beyond Earth. And throughout history, governments and military agencies have sometimes kept observations classified, fueling further speculation and intrigue. This blending creates a complex tapestry. Even when scientists offer plausible explanations, folklore ensures that the events retain a sense of magic and mystery. Conversely, the stories themselves inspire new investigations, prompting experts to look more closely at anomalies that might otherwise be dismissed. Secrecy adds yet another layer. When official data or investigations are hidden, it invites curiosity, debate, and the imagination of ordinary observers, sometimes making the unknown feel even more profound. The combination also highlights a uniquely human trait: the desire to understand, narrate, and contextualize experiences that lie at the edge of comprehension. A bright orb over a quiet field is simultaneously a meteorological puzzle, a potential technological anomaly, and a character in a story we share with others. Each perspective offers something different: factual clarity, emotional resonance, or narrative meaning, but none fully captures the phenomenon alone. This interplay between evidence, imagination, and secrecy is why mysterious lights continue to captivate. They remind us that even in an age of satellites, drones, and sophisticated radar, the sky remains a space of wonder. Whether studied in a laboratory, described in a folktale, or examined in a declassified report, these lights hold a subtle power: the ability to make us pause, look up, and reflect on the limits of our understanding. And so, the quiet dance of science, story, and secrecy keeps the mystery alive, inviting each new generation to gaze at the heavens and ask quietly what is really out there. Even after decades of observation, investigation, and storytelling, the phenomenon of mysterious lights in the sky remains unresolved. Some sightings have plausible scientific explanations: meteors, atmospheric anomalies, or human-made objects, while others continue to defy conventional understanding. This uncertainty is part of what makes the subject so compelling. It invites curiosity rather than offering tidy answers. The persistence of these unexplained events raises questions that go beyond technology or weather. Are there natural phenomena that science has not yet fully understood? Could advanced, human-made craft exist that we have yet to identify? Or is it a combination of perception, psychology, and rare atmospheric conditions that produces moments of wonder that feel almost alive? Each sighting adds a piece to the puzzle, even if the full picture remains elusive. What endures most, however, is human fascination. Across cultures and centuries, people have looked upward with the same mix of awe and humility. The glow of a light against the dark sky can inspire storytelling, inspire scientific inquiry, and stir personal reflection. It reminds us that the universe is vast, and that our understanding, though growing, is still incomplete. Perhaps the quietest truth is this: the sky's mysteries are a shared experience. They connect generations of witnesses, from ancient civilizations to modern pilots, from casual observers to scientists in labs. In every blink of an unexplained light, there is a reminder of the unknown, the still to be discovered, and the enduring human desire to seek, to question, and to imagine. So, as we end tonight's journey, we leave the lights where they belong, in the sky, shimmering at the edge of comprehension, inviting each of us to pause, look up, and wonder. And maybe, in the quiet moments, that sense of curiosity is the most important light of all. Thank you for joining this exploration of mysterious lights in the sky. Whether they are natural, human-made, or something else entirely, their allure reminds us of the wonder that surrounds us every night. Look up, stay curious, and remember, some mysteries are meant to be observed, pondered, and cherished. Until next time, keep gazing gently at the heavens and let your imagination wander.